Are we about to see a mind-boggling run to the upside in the crypto market? If you do focus on the monthly chart, what can you identify? The situation where we are right now, can you see something similar back in the time? Because this doesn't happen every now and then, you kind of get to see the region where we are and how the price action has managed to push through a limit where they attracted majority into the market. Go back in time, look at the data of where the price was and how the majority of retail entered the crypto market. Whether that's back in 2017, you'll be surprised. By 2017 December, you got an enormous amount of people coming into the market. But then you look at the price action, it reached the top at that time. While this was happening, no one really looked at the crypto market. And crypto market here, Bitcoin, was at the all-time highs. You look at the current state and compare it with the bottom here. No one was interested in the crypto market when Bitcoin was at the all-time highs, and then the moving averages were conveying you the same thing. But there is a big catch in it. Before every big run up, you get to see huge price action, volatility to the downside. So you just zoom in on what we just highlighted. And that part is going to give you the clarity you need to ride this market. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. If you're focusing on the macro, the price structure, you should be watching this. If you would like to take part in the next run up, you should understand this. The upside always starts just after a drop in the market. It does not start easily. If you measure that move to the downside, it's volatile. 35-36% drop is not an easy move. From 1,400 towards 900 is a big drop. The price action did do that. But again, the price will not go up without dropping first. Dropping first is cleaning the market. It's not us who do that. It's the whales who does that. That's how they operate. It is our responsibility to look at what they are about to do. Here in Bitcoin, we're still maintaining this trend line, which is good, which is positive. Now you go on to XRP side of the equation. We're watching people talk more about this. People talk more about a huge upside. But then you come into the price action and you see this. That's interesting. Remember, you can clean everything up. Just use the clean price action. You're only looking at what the price is showing you. Last time, before you broke to the downside, you got this. Volatility at the moving average. That's recent past. Now, say you want to go back. You want to go back as much as possible to see before we started running up, did we get these kind of volatility? Say you go on a macro chart. The downside usually shows you an A, B, C structure before you start pumping crazy. Did we get that here? That's the biggest trouble. So you have the A, you have the B, C is not yet here. So a C leg means 0.4 here. And that can be damaging for a lot of people. Now, say you're watching this and saying, no, we already made the A, the B, and the C belong to that criteria. Then you're looking at this, a retest and a bounce from 0.49. In either way, that's what the market is showing you. Say you go on a monthly chart. You want to zoom in. You're looking at this and you're like, okay, let me make sense of what the market is doing. There was pretty good selling volume, which failed to push the price to the downside. That's good. Last time the opposite happened. There was a price action to the downside or in favor of that idea, which means we may actually get a candle breaking through this. Now, we've been waiting for that for a year now. So until that breakout comes in, don't jump into it saying it's coming right now. The odds of that coming soon is higher, agreed, but that also means before the price goes nuts, it should kick a lot of retail out. So the ABC here would make more sense before a macro burst like this. If that confuses you, one of the things you need to understand is the macro idea remains the same. You're watching trillion-dollar companies now announcing they are in crypto. They are using different instruments to get exposure into the crypto market. You're watching all these giant corporations officially entering the crypto space. Bitcoin is where they enter initially because that's where the liquidity is at. They cannot enter into small cap coins where the daily liquidity is like this. They cannot participate there. If you would like to participate with them, now you go look at assets with hundreds of millions of dollars every single day. That gives you an advantage to understand, is it trending higher? Is it looking good in the volume side? Will the institutions enter there? Yeah, in the top 100, you get to see a lot of them, but selecting the right asset which is trending higher is important. And that is why the SI family is focusing heavily on that to give you the right coins at this time so that you don't do wrong things which are not supposed to be at this moment. So if you want help, use the link in the description below and jump on to the Scientific Investor family. Get everything possible. Now, while we jump back into the world of charts, you do look at Ether. You're watching that. The price action is showing you this. The macro trend line remains there. The price action is trying to revisit that range. You're almost close, for sure. You're getting there. But what's the trouble? If you do look at this, you're forming a rectangle and the trend is to the downside. So historically speaking, wait for a breakout. Most likely we may break to the downside, come back down here. Maybe we're going to make the base there and start going up. That's okay, that's good. And that kind of matches up with the macro situation which we were arguing about. What is that? When the price does move from the moving average on a monthly, that move is historically a great one to absorb. But we are also seeing the fact that while the moving average was there, there has been heavy volatility there. So that drop, if you are levered, can hurt you. Now, what does that mean? You take a trend line, you plot it at least on a weekly chart, and on a weekly chart, you're watching that this particular trend line is kind of a long way around. Now, you zoom in for this particular run up, which is last 2 years. And then you understand, okay, we are fluctuating close to that, but we can still form a local low here with a long wick. This is that kind of a wick we are talking about. Back in March 2023, we saw something similar before the price reversed back another 60% to test the highs. So at this point, if Ether has to test the highs, it's kind of close enough. You have to run up 60% more to reach them. Yes, the ultimate movement in the market is based on what Bitcoin does. And that is exactly why when you look at the monthly chart of Bitcoin, it argues the perspective here. And that is a clear question. Say you want to use a 50-day moving average. Say you want to only use a 20-day moving average, whichever you would like. But remember, On a monthly, a higher time frame like 50, a higher time frame like 100 would make more sense. Say you can actually put it to 100. 200 doesn't actually come up for monthly chart. So you can now plot this. You see the difference? The price is still trending higher. Now, use a 21 to closely follow this monthly structure. And what do you notice? One of the easiest thing is when your moving average is getting saturated here, take this, guys, take this easily. This is something which will stick with you and give you profits without going to the other direction. Just 1 minute. Whenever the moving average is getting saturated, you are going to see the price coming back down. Whenever the moving average is getting saturated after a downtown, where it is trending higher, you are about to see something big. It's not once, it's not twice. You go into this market and you get to see this. What do you think is going to happen next after watching this? That kind of a blow off, which the monthly chart is arguing right now, is still valid. Now, should that be $100,000 run up? Should that be $1 million run up? No one knows. But the odds of it being $1 million or $250,000 remains very low. Because the structure we are making looks like this. You may get the 1, the 2, the 3 for sure, but it can be limited to this kind of a move because we are not doing something like this where you don't have a clear trend formation. Yeah, the trend is there, but the clear wave formation is not there. If it was something like back in the initial days of Bitcoin, you had the 1, 2, 3. So you had the 1, 2, 3 back in those times, 2013, 2014. Then here in 2020, 2022, now we are watching somewhat similar moves. So until you get a breakout, go watch a 3-day chart. It's going to give you the easy idea to understand where it's actually becoming bullish for micro or even short term. So you're watching this trend line and you want this trend line to break. Until then, it's a game of patience. Who has the most with discipline wins the game. Now, look at assets which are running up against Bitcoin. This is going to give you some advantage on a shorter horizon. Say you go on to this. You're taking a daily chart on Bitcoin. Easy thing, whenever it crossed to the downside, you formed a local low. Whenever it crossed to the downside, you're trying to form a local low with bullish divergence. Now, you already did that. You crossed, yet you didn't put in a lower low. Rather, you put in a higher low. So this equation on a daily chart for Bitcoin brings you to this. Does that look good? For me, it looks good. It looks positive. Someone is coming in to buy at these supports. So Bitcoin kind of showing you the market can remain bullish or the market is still bullish. XRP on a similar horizon showing you the same. We are inside a bull flag. The trouble is, do we all have the patience to see this break higher and run higher? That's the hard part because historically speaking, the majority does not participate in that because of patience and discipline. That's the hard part. Until this break happens, can you remain in the market and be a net buyer or have the patience and discipline? Being liquid is very hard. And that's why choosing just one asset or just one segment can be a trouble. Which is where the help from Scientific Investor family becomes vital, especially for this bull market. If you need help on that front, be a part of the Scientific Investor family. And if you received value, smash that like button for me. I'll meet you in the next video. Bye for now.